Good evening, everyone. This is a regular meeting of the Community Development Commission. Today is Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. Seeing a quorum, this meeting is officially called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Covington, would you please lead us? Thank you. I will now take roll call. Commissioner Covington,
Here.
Commissioner Le,
Yeah.
Commissioner Martinez, Commissioner Padilla,
Here.
Commissioner Cornelius,
Present.
Commissioner Mejia.
Here.
Thank you. We will be pulling item number 7 from the business calendar so we can appoint a chairperson and vice chairperson. Once a chairperson is appointed, he or she will conclude running the meeting. Once we have a chairperson, we'll ask the chair to move to the middle. And there's a script for the new chair. So we will now consider matters under the business calendar. The first item on the business calendar is item number 7, election of chairperson and vice chairperson for the Community Development Commission for the remainder of 2022-2023 term. We will proceed then with nominations for chairperson. Are there any nominations? You can either nominate someone or you can nominate yourself. And the floor is open.
I'd like to move to nominate Commissioner Covington for the position of chairperson for the 22-23 remainder term.
I'll second the motion.
Anyone else?
Just point of order, are we doing the chair and the vice chair at the same time or just
We
one?
can do that, yes.
In that case, I would like to nominate Commissioner Daniel Cornelius as vice chair, please.
I would like to nominate myself for vice chair.
Can I second the motion for myself? Appropriate? Yeah.
So we have Commissioner Covington for chair, and I would like to take a vote. I know Commissioner Padilla motion, and did I have a second? Oh, sorry, you?
Yeah, he motioned, I
And
second.
you second, sorry about that. Any comments, about the chair? If not, I can call your name and if you said aye.
Mhm.
Do you approve for Commissioner Covington to be the chairperson for the Community Development Commission? When I say your name, please say aye. Commissioner Covington,
Aye.
Commissioner Le,
Aye.
Commissioner Padilla,
Aye.
Commissioner Cornelius,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia.
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations. And you may sit on the chair seat. Thank you. And now for vice chairperson, I have 2 people. For Commissioner Cornelius and Commissioner Padilla. I'll call your name and you tell me if you want to vote for Commissioner Padilla or Commissioner Cornelius.
Just point of order, just, was there a second for the second motion was it required for Commissioner Padilla?
I'm gonna take a vote on all both.
Right, but I don't know if there was a second for the nomination.
Yes.
For Commissioner Padilla, not yet, no.
I second it.
Okay. Commissioner Padilla, you nominate yourself. So Commissioner Mejia,
Do I say who I'm voting for?
which one? Jacob,
Commissioner Padilla.
Cornelius or me? I'm sorry?
Commissioner Padilla?
Thank you. Commissioner Covington,
Commissioner Cornelius,
Commissioner Le,
Pronunciation, Alania.
Padilla. Elias.
Cornelius.
So we have 3 votes for Commissioner Padilla and 2 votes for Commissioner Cornelius. Congratulations, Commissioner
Thank
Padilla.
you.
Yeah, that concludes with the votes, and we may now continue with the regular meeting.
now that I'm sitting up here, I have to tell you guys, I have not been the chairman of this commission in over 20 years. So Mike, Judson, Bianca, you two. So you guys are gonna need to help me out here. So let's just go ahead and move to the consent calendar and just call for a motion. Okay, thanks, Mike. Appreciate the coaching. Keep it up. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and call for a motion to approve the consent calendar, items 1 through 6, please.
Let's move it.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And this, Bianca, is where we move then to item number 8. I don't do the public hearing part yet, or do I?
Yes, you would open the public hearing.
Yeah, you have the, on the script.
Yeah,
Yeah, just follow the script and it's on the second page.
on the second page.
Not on this item, though. It's item number 9 is the public hearing.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. But on number 8, we just open that up for discussion, or,
Yeah, you
Just
invite
follow the
staff
script,
member.
yes.
Yeah.
okay, all right. Can we have the staff report presented, please, on item number 8?
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to invite Jackie Nguyen, our Housing Authority Operations Supervisor, to provide a presentation on our Housing Authority's annual plan.
Good afternoon, Chairman Covington and Vice Chair Padilla. Congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
nomination and wins, and commissioners. Today, I have the pleasure of presenting you our Housing Authority Annual Plan for 2023, 2024.
I'll advance it for you, Jackie.
Oh, okay.
Not advancing here either.
Running into a little technical difficulty here.
It's not advancing
Battery?
here. We'll be
Is it the
right with you.
battery?
1 second. There we go.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. This is the Housing Authority annual plans. As you can see from the slide here, it shows the Housing Authority annual budget for each of our programs that we operate. You know, the very first program that we have is our largest program, which is the Housing Choice Voucher, what refer to the regular old Section 8 program. We also have the VASH, that is a Veteran Supported Housing Services. And then the NED is then for the non-elderly disabled. So the client is under 62 years old and they are determined disabled. So that is the majority of our client that's on the program. So our annual budget for those is a little bit over $40 million. The next program we have is a foster youth independent, a little bit over $300,000, and that's the foster youth is for young adults that are coming out of the foster youth program system. The mainstream voucher program is almost $2 million. That is also similar to the NED. They are non-elderly disabled also, but it is for the chronic homeless individuals. And then the next is the emergency housing voucher that is coming out from the COVID pandemic, is to assist the homeless individual and families. And that one is a little bit over $800,000. And our newest one is the HCV, which is the Housing Choice Voucher Program, the Fair Share Vouchers. This one is a little bit over 623,000. We received 39 vouchers, and that will be assisting the chronic homeless families, so with children, with minor children. So a little bit over all the programs that we operate is coming out to a little bit over $44 million annually for the Housing Authority. Next slide. So outreach and engagement. So part of the requirement for our annual plan, we are responsible to conduct a meeting with our participants to get their input, suggestions on our operations, and to see where we can improve, where we're doing good, where we're not doing so good. So that is part of the annual plan requirement that we do. So we hold a meeting in approximately February every year in 3 languages, in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. And we send out invitation to all clients that receive housing assistance, date and time, and then the client come in, we have a group meeting, and then we have questions and ask them, they suggest, we take down all their notes and all the suggestions and comments, and incorporate that into part of our annual plan for this coming year. And we also publish the legal notice in also 3 languages, in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. English go to the OC register, Vietnamese is Người Việt, and Spanish is La Pignon. Our goals and objective, we have a 5-year plan. So other than our annual plan, we also have a 5-year plan that we submitted to HUD from July 1st, 2020, and then it will expire on July 30th, 2025. And this is part of that 5-year plan. So within the 5-year plans, we do have some goals and objectives, accomplishment that we need to have for our agency. So we determined there's 6 goals that we need to focus on. That's our priorities. And then I'll go through every one of them just to give you a quick overview of what they are. So the first one is, of course, we try to utilize our funding. We apply for all funding available whenever HUD public any notice, any funding. We apply for that so that we can assist as many families as we can in our communities. The second one is expanding the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. The Family Self-Sufficiency Program is to help clients that are on our program to, obtain either additional educations or job training, some kind of training to improve and help them to become self-sufficient, so that they will not need our assistance or lessen the amount of assistance that they're on our program. Oops, sorry. For CMAP performers, part of the requirement, we do have to review and, verify our accuracy of our file, our compliance. We make sure that we follow HUD's requirement, and, we look at whether the income was calculated correctly, our inspection was done in timely. So that is part of the CMAP requirement that HUD have set out for us. Next one is part of outreach to landlords. As you know, all tenants, compete in the open market. So it's very tough for them. And we try to recruit new landlords, with very incentive programs. We try to maintain our landlord, assist them through the process so that to eliminate the time of waiting period so that they can bring on the family, move into the unit and start a HAP contract and get paid as soon as possible. So that is part of our process to help them. We also are an active member for Apartment Association. We also have a website called Go Section 8. They recently changed their name to Affordable Housing. We buy the membership, and the landlord can go on that website and list their vacancy unit for free. So that is part of the service that we provide and recruit and maintain the landlord. And of course, provide equal opportunity for fair housing. All our staff attend fair housing training annually. And then if there's any information update on fair housing coming out from HUD, from Orange County Fair Housing Office, we always, implement that and sign up for the staff to attend those training to make sure we are current on the current regulation. And on VAWA, which is the victim of, help me on this one, Violent Against Women Act, for domestic violence, to help assist domestic violence. So in our program, all notices going out to tenant landlord, we always include in the VAWA notice to inform the applicant, participant, and landlord there, if the client, if they are victim of domestic violence, they do have certain protections and rights under that act. So we make sure that our client knows that. And then our progress, our accomplishment, we spend every dollar that we receive from HUD. As you can see, we utilize 103% of our budget annual for calendar 2022. We also receive a new 39 new vouchers for that SCV fair vouchers. Show in the first screen. We also received the new 225 foster youth to independent vouchers that to assist the youth coming out of the foster system. And then we also received $115,000 in extraordinary admin fee to assist family in the mainstream program with the lease up as the only incentive, like security deposit, application fee. So that part of that money is to assist that program. Expanding the family self-sufficiency. We last year, to the end of the year, we host FSS graduations to celebrate the 12 families that completed their contract of participation. Again, like I say, they go through the program, we assist them and encourage them and coach them, help them to obtain whether it's additional education, job training, to help them to pretty much improve their life financially. So we did have 12 candidates or 12 families graduated. In combined, they received a little bit over $200,000 in escrow savings. That a reward to them for completing the program. Our accomplishment for 2021-22, also we are for CMAP indicators. So for HUD, through our QC program, quality control program, we on a monthly basis, we randomly select file, and then we review them. Again, different indicator, we make sure the staff, follow all requests of the paperwork, calculate the rent correctly. So for all sides of the program, HUD only require us to complete 34 housing inspections and 35 file review, but we go above and beyond that. We review 69 for the inspection, and doesn't help me out here. I think for file review, we review 372 when HUD only require us 35. So you can see the number of files that we review. We pay attention to all the detail in the file. We also send out monthly electronic newsletter to landlords just to update them if we have any update in the programs or in the housing authority operation. Again, fair housing, our staff go through that training annually, and it's required that staff attend that. And then the VAWA notice. Again, we make sure that the tenant, the landlord, everybody on our program aware of that protection, should they need it. And then the results. So last year, we received an overall performance points. We are considered a high performance status housing. So we got 145 points out of 145 points, according to CMAP, HUD CMAP score. And then here's a picture of all our graduates. And then what's next for us? Then we'll continue pushing forward, and the annual plan will be presented at the next council meeting on April 4th. Thank you. Do you guys have any question?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. You mentioned efforts to provide outreach to landlords. What type of outreach do you provide outreach to the tenants or any potential tenants as well?
I'm sorry.
Or potential, you want me to repeat the whole question or?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you
Okay.
repeat that? Yeah.
So you mentioned efforts to provide outreach to landlords,
Yes.
right? Do you also provide efforts to provide outreach to potential recipients of the vouchers or current tenants or program updates?
So last year we opened the waiting list. So we advertised, through our newspaper, local community partner agencies, school districts. So once when we accept an application, we have this massive outreach to get everyone to apply. Once, the number of applicants gets selected on the wait list and then they get selected, then they'll be on that wait list. And then from there on, we assist them with as much as we can in terms of paperwork and then connecting them with the community services, community resources that they need.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions from our fellow commissioners there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry. So I have two questions. One is, I saw in the comments that I think it's great that you're providing public comment and taking that into consideration. One of the comments there was a suggestion on the process. And so I know you've used all the funds, which is great. And my question is, there's always this complaint of processes, right? The length of time. One, what are you guys doing, or what have you done to make adjustments to that to ensure that you use all the funds and get help to as many people? And then my other question is, when now landlords are increasing the rent, what are how do you mitigate that to ensure that individuals who are receiving a voucher can still afford to live there?
So to respond to your first questions, our staff, we work in, as hard as we can to assist as many families as we can. And of course, we have during COVID, and I know we're coming out of COVID, but we're still trying to get staff up to the level that that we need. We did hire some new staff, and then, they are going through intensive training. Once they're done with that, then, of course, they're going to be up to date, but it's also depending on the length of time that the applicant takes to provide us the paperwork also. So once the paperwork is in, we process the file within 30 days and then issue them a voucher. Yeah. Then the second question is about rent increase. Unfortunately, yes, the rent, it just skyrocketed and we have no control over that. For our program, HUD require us to do what we call it a rent comparable. So we look surrounding unit where the assistant unit is with a similar amenity. And if, the owner requesting the rent that, charges the same price as a unit next door to them, we would have to approve that. That's the only criteria that HUD require us. Similar units, similar rent.
Any other questions for staff? Yep.
Yeah, I have one more. You mentioned there were some COVID related funds that were being requested from the emergency rental assistance. Is that anticipated to be over? I mean, is this the final year of that, or is that?
No, that one's the emergency housing voucher. It came out part of the Rescue America plan.
So that should be.
So that the voucher, they already issued us award the 89 vouchers. Yes, that's over.
Okay.
Yes.
Understood. And then you also mentioned that for the calendar year 2002, you guys went 103% over the budget. Where did that other 3% come from?
Sometimes we have leftover.
Yeah, okay. And then do you anticipate to go over the budget this year, or was that accounted for?
We are
This
working
budget?
on it. It's still early in the
Yeah.
year. We haven't got the final budget from HUD yet, but we are anticipating to spend, whatever the HUD gonna award to us.
Thank you.
Okay, before I go, anybody else with questions or comments, please? Nope. Okay, I've got some. I think you kind of covered it a little bit. But I was going through the stack of surveys and comments here in our information today. And I seem to find a kind of a theme amongst most of the comments. I even use my limited Spanish to translate a little bit, but some of the concerns here from the people that attended your meeting on February 16th was I don't want to say a break in communication, but a delay in communication. I heard you say staff has been down because of COVID, but that seemed to be a common theme. Is that, I don't know if they're called housing administrators or housing managers, but there seemed to be a delay, not so much a break, but a delay in communication. There seemed to be a loss of documents. There was an accountability question I saw several times, maybe not processing quickly enough. There was request for exterior inspections to be done maybe a little bit deeper, where we know we're taking a good look at the inside, but are we truly looking at the outside as well as we should to make sure the environment is what it should be? There was a question a couple times over priorities. How do we really pick these guys? Does it start with the elderly, go to the disability folks, the vets, and then let's see. They felt it was a very long process. Some of these people have been implying, I guess, have been on the list for years. And I could go on with a few, but communication, document control, exterior inspection, proper priority, the length of the process. What feedback can you share on that, please?
The length of waiting on the waiting list, I agree with you. It is long. It's long for every housing authority, it's not just us across the country. The last time we accept the waiting list, was previous to last year. Before that was 2015. We selected 5,000 applicants on the waiting list, and again, the number of applicants we assist is based on available funding. So I agree, it is long. Orange County is over 10 years, so does Garden Grove, so does Anaheim. So for us, we are looking at, yes, between probably, I would say 7 years average wait. And that's go across all the housing authority, especially in California. As far as staff, again, like I said, we have some retirement during COVID. And, we hire new staff and we train staff. We want to be able to give them, sufficient training, and they are trained at this point. We are up to speed. There should not be delay. Again, it's also dependent on the number of how long it takes for client to submit the paperwork also, and then the priority that the staff have. But we give priority to all the new applicants so that we can bring them on the program and assist them as soon as possible.
But as far as the exterior inspections, how can we do a better job with that?
Inspection, we resume in-person inspection. During COVID, we continue to do virtual inspection, and we have resumed in-person inspection. Justin, help me out. Is it 2 years ago? No, last year. Last year in July 1 is when we resume in-person inspection. So we do, so we try to prioritize and do the inspection. We check inside and outside of the unit. Yes.
Graffiti seemed to be a big problem. So I don't know if you hold the landlord responsible for that, or if the city is coming in and helping with that. What do we do about that? Because the common theme was the environment, the exterior definitely needed some attention. So I'm just trying to figure out how much we can do, how much we can help.
The graffiti, we place that as a responsibility on the landlord, and we do give landlord resources. If they need assistance with the city, then we will connect them with the city staff or to assist them with that. But we put that responsibility on the landlord.
Okay, I guess the last question for right now is, how do we establish the priority of who gets the vouchers?
So all vouchers, the veterans, U.S. veterans get the top priority. And then after that, we lottery all the clients that live or work in Santa Ana. And
Live
then
or work.
Live or work in Santa Ana. But U.S. veteran get the top priority. They do not get in the lottery process. They get placed to the waiting list directly.
Okay, as a veteran, I appreciate that. But Mike, how do we give better priority to those that live here?
We do live or work. Yes.
I know, I
That's
heard
it.
that part.
Okay.
But my question to Mike is, how do we give more priority to our residents?
That'll I'll jump in, sorry. So it's, there are specific fair housing regulations that we operate under and that all housing authorities operate under for the establishing local preferences. And that live or work component is a requirement, as we understand it, that you can't just restrict it to families who live in your community. If they also work in your community, then they would qualify for your local residency preference. It's a best practice across the country, and as we understand it, it's in compliance with fair housing. There's there's examples that I could provide you where like housing authorities used to set a preference for senior citizens, right? For seniors. And fair housing came back and said that they were discriminating based on age. And so housing authorities had to stop using that preference. But based on fair housing regulations, we're still allowed to use a live or work preference in compliance with the regs.
Okay, I can understand that. It's just, we're here to serve our community. So I wanted to see if maybe we could push the envelope a little bit to help more of our citizens, but I understand what you're talking about there. Before I move on, guys, one last call. Any comments or questions?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Please.
Thank you. Going back to the meeting that you had on the 16th and reading most of the comments, I just have two questions. One of them, how many in our staff speak different language such as Spanish, for example, to help them through the application and through the program?
So all of our staff either speak Spanish or Vietnamese.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Because I saw a lot of, and the reason why is because I saw a lot of comments that you guys need more people that speak Spanish. And then my other question was, after they apply for the program, they're going through the process and they get granted, do you have any type of survey or anything that we're implementing to ask how was the services, what was their experience with how we're providing the help?
That is incorporated into that resident board meeting. The client can come to the meeting and then express their, their inputs and suggestion or recommendation on the process. If they run into any issue, of course, at the time that they have any question or issue, we ask them to contact their housing specialist directly, and then we can connect them to the services that they need. So once their voucher is approved, we invite everyone to attend a group briefing, in person, and then we go over the whole process and then what the client, where they need to go to receive the services.
No, yeah, I understand that because I see that you did that on the meeting. But my question is more when they already received the funding, when they already received
On housing,
and they're granted,
houses.
how do you follow up with them to see what was the satisfaction of the entire process?
They would come. We invite them to come to the annual meeting.
Oh, okay,
Yes. So
Right.
annually, we invite everyone who receive housing assistance.
okay.
And Commissioner, just to also add to our previous response regarding the Spanish-speaking staff, as Jackie mentioned, all of our staff are required to be bilingual for all of our positions. And in terms of our housing specialists, our case managers who work directly with our participants, we have 5 Spanish-speaking housing specialists and 3 Vietnamese-speaking housing specialists, and that's a really, really effective distribution relative to our distribution of Spanish-speaking and Vietnamese-speaking families.
No, yeah, that's great. Thank you. And just one last question. I also saw in a lot of the comments that people were requesting a list of apartments or the houses. Are you providing, do we have that now that we're providing to the community, or I just want to know why they're asking for that?
We provide them the website that called Go Affordable Housing, and then with the landlord would list their vacancy unit there, and then they can, reach out to the landlord from there.
Are we only providing it via website?
No, if the client needs us to print it, we can print it for them.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect. That's all my questions, and thank you for your presentation. You did great.
thank you.
One last one for me, and then we'll move forward. Couple of comments going back to the documents. I guess you guys have a Dropbox where they can drop the documents that they need to get to your department. Apparently, some went missing in action, some were slow to be processed. I don't know how secure that is. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Our box is very secure. It's right in front of the reception area. We have, in view, a full view of that box. So it's very secure. I can guarantee you it's secure.
Okay. So there really isn't a loss of documentation?
No.
Okay, all right, because I did read that comment. Okay. Then let's, do we have a motion to approve item number 8 so we can approve the Housing Authority annual plan?
Let's move it.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposed? Matter approved by unanimous consent.
Thank you.
Now we're going to move on. We have one public hearing. That's item number 9 to approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 annual action plan and budgets for the community development block grant, home investment partnerships grant, and emergency solutions grant, and authorize submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time and place for the public hearing of the Community Development Commission of the City of Santa Ana. First item, approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 annual action plan and budgets for the Community Development Block Grant, Home Improvement Partnership Grant, Emergency Solutions Grant, and authorized submission to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. Will staff report on the matter?
Hello, good evening, commissioners. It's nice to see you all here again tonight. So thank you for being here. So my name is David Flores, Senior Community Development Analyst, and I'm going to give you a brief presentation on the annual action plan. Okay, so that you're well informed before you make a decision. So let me get this presentation up and we'll get started. Okay, thank you. All right. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the fiscal year 23-24 annual action plan that's going to be submitted to HUD. So it needs to go through a review process that starts with your body and then finally to the council. Okay. So some of this information you might have heard of before, so I'm going to run through it briefly, but I know there's a new commissioner. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. So we're going to start with the consolidated plan overview. So every 5-year, HUD requires us to develop a consolidated plan. So this is our consolidated plan. It's for 5 years. So it starts July 1st of 2020 and it sunsets on June 30th of 2025. So when we developed this plan, we did a lot of community outreach. We were able to set some to establish some priorities and set some goals, okay, for the consolidated plan. So it's a requirement of HUD for us to do this. And once again, it's for a 5-year period. So we established 6 priority needs that involve expanding supply of affordable housing. So we've been excellent at doing this. So we've been doing a lot of affordable housing developments. We do a lot of establish a lot of programs to maintain our current housing stocks within the city of Santa Ana. So we can preserve them for generations to come, right? And I'll give you some examples of that and how we're doing that. We also we provide access to adequate supply of public services. So the city we don't have the staffing to provide the public service ourselves. So we reach out to our nonprofits in our community to provide these services. And I'll give you some examples of that as well. The other goal is to increase access and supply of homeless services and facilities. So we provide funding to homeless shelter and nonprofits that assist us with providing services to our homeless population. That includes our Santa Ana PD. And then we promote economic opportunity programs, which I'll talk about in a future slide, on how we partner with our economic development department to assist local businesses to grow and retain their staff. And once they do that, hopefully they stay within our community, because that's our goal, right? Especially if they're an excellent business. We want them to stay here and not go somewhere else. Improve city public facilities and infrastructure. A lot of our public facilities are pretty old, so we provide a lot of CDBG funding to rehabilitate those facilities so that a public can use them on a regular basis. And I'll give you some examples of those as well. So process flow chart, excuse me. So we have the consolidated plan, and every year the consolidated plan, which is 5 years, right? We have to create what's called an annual action plan. So this year we're in year 4 of the consolidated plan. So, and that's what we're going to submit to HUD for their approval. In order for us to prepare the document, the annual action plan, we have to do communities, community engagement and outreach services. So there's certain things that we did this year that's kind of different than previous years. So the first thing that we did to engage the community is we attended community neighborhood association meetings. So we went out to 6 neighborhood associations and we presented the programs. We talked about the different funding sources. They were well informed. It was a surprise to us that they had no idea what CDBG or ESG or home programs were. This was the first time that they heard about these programs. And it was a surprise, but it was also kind of expected. But we were there to educate them and let them know that these funds were coming to our city on an annual basis. And we wanted their input on how to spend, these funds in their community. So the 6 neighborhood associations we attended was Willard, the Downtown District Association, Artesia Pilar, Madison Neighborhood, Comlink Meeting, which was the Santa Ana PD, and the Henninger Park Neighborhood Association. The second item that we're doing to promote outreach and engagement, we're having 2 public hearings. So the first one is taking place tonight, right? Here at the Community Development Commission. And the second one will be at our city council meeting, which will take place on May 2nd. So we did advertise these public hearings. Just like in Jackie's program, we advertised in 3 newspapers, the Orange County Register in English, La Opinión in Spanish, and in the Vietnamese newspaper to get the word out. In addition to that, we're making our annual action plan available for 30 days for comment, for public review and comment. So 30 days in 3 different locations at our Community Development Agency, at the Clerk of the Council office in the 8th floor, and at both of our libraries, the main library and the library on the other side of town, New Hope. Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
All right, awesome. So let's start with the annual action plan. So with the annual action plan, we are programming activities. In previous years, HUD was kind of slow with giving us our allocations, but this year they've been excellent. So we just received our allocation about maybe 2 weeks ago. So these are actual numbers. So for the community development block grant, this year we're going to receive 4.8 million. For the home program, 1.6 million. And for the emergency solution grant is, a little bit under 500,000, so 447. So all of these funds will be programmed and allocated within the annual action plan for different activities that I'm going to cover next. All right. So I'm going to start out with the CDBG program. This is the way we're planning our budget. These are the different activities that we're going to fund with CDBG. So the first one is our program administration and fair housing activities. We're going to fund economic development activities. We're going to provide our city public works department and parks with some funds so they can provide services to our public facilities. We're going to provide funding for our housing rehabilitation program that includes 2 different activities. One of them is for our single family rehab program that's managed through Habitat for Humanity. And the second one is a down payment assistance program. We're also going to fund our code enforcement department so they can do enforcement of housing and municipal building codes to ensure that all of our housing stock is that they're complying with health and safety rules, right, for our community. And then we're going to provide public service programs, which the commission took part in making sure that we allocated those funds to all of the nonprofits that came here last year. So let me start giving you some examples. So with economic development, we're funding our small businesses. We provide a grant of $5,000 to small businesses. And the definition of small business is any business that has 5 or less employees. Okay, so they can use that money to retain employees, pay salaries. They can use it for their equipment, to improve their facilities or the services that they provide, or anything else that's eligible in the CDBG guidelines. This year, for fiscal year 23, we are requesting to fund the Pell Center once again. Last year, we funded the Pell Center to redo the restrooms to make them ADA compliant, but that was just the design phase. So they hired an architect to look at the restrooms and they did, all the blueprints and all the design work that needed to go into designing the restrooms to make them ADA compliant. This coming year, they were requesting funds for the construction phase of the program. So we're hoping that we can get that program done and the children that go to that facility will have ADA accessible restrooms. That's our goal. This year, we're also doing a new program. This is a program where we're going to do like a co-payment program where for two parks, Madison Park and Campesino, sorry. So if you look at both of the parks, the first one is Madison on the left and on the right is Campesino. Both of the areas where the residents park is blacktop, right? So blacktop usually collects a lot of sun, it retains it and makes it very hot. So it's very uncomfortable for our residents. So what we want to do is put a pavement treatment that prevents the heat from being retained in that parking lot. So hopefully people can go to the parks late at night and, go to a cool environment, right? So this is something new that we've never done before, but we're hoping that it's going to work. And if it works at these two parks, we'll continue with the rest of the parks within the city. Next is something that's very personal to me, Chepas Park. Chepas Park has been neglected for many years, but we're hoping that we can provide $500,000 to Chepas Park to do a master park plan, which can involve demolition of the whole entire park, and we're going to build it right back up. So we're going to demolish the community center, the basketball courts, the playground, the benches that are there, and we're going to do whole new concept there, just like what we did with Mariposa Park. If you guys remember those pictures, it's going to look that beautiful. That's the ultimate goal for that park. Yes, sir.
I'm not familiar with this location. Where is Chepas Park?
In the Logan neighborhood.
Okay.
So hopefully we can get that approved and we can start doing that. So we're going to decide or fund the master plan for that. And in future years, hopefully we can fund a portion of the construction costs for that program. Next one is the Santa Ana Main Library parking lot. So if you could see right in the center where it says 502, that's the current, it's really not a parking lot. It's a roundabout where people can, parents can go drop off their kids, or they can park there temporarily, pick up books, and then they have to leave. So the library director wants a different parking structure there. So he wants to make sure that all of our residents have parking spots that they can stay there while their kids are in the library, or they can stay there and join their children while they're in the library, getting the services that they need. Because at this current point, they can't do that. They need to go to the parking structure next door and they have to pay a fee. So we're trying to get rid of that and correct that for our residents. Yes, sir.
Right there, the edge, is that lost?
Correct.
And that's where you enter.
Correct. The county buildings. Yes. Yeah. So we're hoping to correct that and make them parking spots for our residents. So if you remember the priority list that we established in the comp plan, one of them was to preserving our housing stock. So we contract out with Habitat for Humanity to provide a single family rehab program. So they rehabilitate homes in our community. So the rehabilitation could consist of replacing windows, replacing roofs, making ADA accessible ramps for people who have disabilities. They can also repair plumbing, electrical, paint their house exterior and the interior, and address lead contamination and mold contamination, which are mandatory that they have to do. So it's been working really well. I think we're on our third year with Habitat, and it's functioning really well, and we hope that we can continue doing that. Next one is code enforcement. So I mentioned that we're going to fund code enforcement program. So they're responsible for going to CDBG eligible areas in Santa Ana, which is pretty much the whole entire city. They have to go out there and ensure that they're safe structures, like you can see that one there. It wasn't a safe structure, so they provide citations to demolish those structures or to get the proper permit so that they're complied with building code. Okay. The great thing about this program is that when they provide a citation to the residents have the opportunity to apply for this program. And they get priority, so we can put the money back into their home to correct those deficiencies or those citations. So we just don't give them a fine and say, you figure out how you're going to correct that. We have that program to help them, and they get priority on that list. So for this year, let me backtrack a little bit for Habitat for Humanity. Last year, we provided rehabilitation services for 25 homes. This year, we're currently doing 15 homes that we're rehabilitating. 3 of those 15 homes are code enforcement citations. Yes, sir.
This program that you funded 25 different homes for repairs, is that on a lien-based situation? Is that a grant? Is it a combination of the two? How does that work?
So it's all on the grant basis. So the residents don't have to pay that money back, and it's up to $25,000 if it involves a roof repair.
Okay, and that's true even if they were cited by code enforcement. No harm, no foul, they can get the funds, no more penalty.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
Thank you.
because our goal is to preserve our current housing stock.
thanks.
Okay, you're welcome.
I actually have a question on that since we're on the topic. On here, it seems from what you're explaining to me that as long as it's a family home, they can apply for these funds. In the description, it says privately owned multifamily rental properties. So the rental portion confused me. They can be the homeowners, right? They don't have to necessarily be renting it out to others in order to qualify for this.
Thank you for the question. I appreciate that. So I'm going to provide some clarification. So with CDBG, we have the opportunity of doing single family resident rehabilitation program or multifamily resident, which will involve apartments. We're choosing at this time not to do multifamily rental. It's only single family rehab, and it's owner occupied residents, and the owners have to be low income.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question? Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Public service programs. So we do provide services for public services that can be comprised of legal services, senior services, after school programs. You see there in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a program for moms here in Santa Ana. So they provide services to pregnant moms. They have to be low income. They do all kinds of services, not only for the mom, but for the parents as well, like parenting classes, mommy and me classes, and a variety of other stuff. On the top right, you see Neutral Ground. Neutral Ground provides a gang prevention program, which is needed. They provide for El Salvador community. So we're hoping that we can expand those programs to other communities, but there's not a lot of nonprofits that provide that service. But we do an extensive outreach effort every single year to try to get nonprofits to provide that service. But it's very difficult, but we're doing it. All right. Any questions on CDBG and the different programs that we fund? Okay, we can come back at the end as well. So
Actually, since you were asked, back to code enforcement. These funds are being utilized to help assist with the budget for code enforcement, correct?
correct.
You know how many residential code enforcement officers we have now? Because I can remember back in the day, we would have one assigned basically in every neighborhood. And neighborhood leaders would get a monthly report on what issues and concerns that we found that we can help keep up the neighborhood. You know where we stand with the number of officers? Are we going to use some of this budget to gain additional officers?
Thank you for your question. So I don't know how many code enforcement officers we have currently. I know that these funds are used to fund part of their salaries, not the entire thing. So when they go out to a CDBG eligible area, they have to document the services that they're providing in that area. And that's how we can allocate the CDBG funds to their salary that way. But it's not 100% funded to one code enforcement officer or two. It could be a variety of them.
Okay, thank you.
I actually have a follow-up question. For the code enforcement officers, are these law enforcement officers then?
That's a good question. I know they have badges. I don't know if they're actually sworn officers. Mike, do you?
They are non-sworn. Some do have special, I don't remember the term for it, the PHC. Some of them do have special training, but they do not have a law enforcement authority. They're non-sworn.
Non-sworn, okay. I would be interested in what they exactly they are. And the reason for that is because, I mean, I'm born and raised here and I've encountered different, bureaucrats. And I would be curious to see if they are law enforcement or not, and also the role they're playing, because the way that I'm listening to how you're describing code enforcement is for the safety and well-being of the neighborhood, right? However, depending on the professionalism and training that they have, the enforcement might be not the same intention. And so I would be curious to see what their professional training truly is.
That I can say for a fact that we have no sworn officers as code enforcement. And I don't know of any cities that I've ever worked with or for that had that. That's not saying that maybe some cities have utilized law enforcement for code enforcement actions, but Santa Ana, to my knowledge, it never has, and they absolutely do not have at this moment. So.
Okay, thank you.
I know that when dealing with code enforcement is a very sensitive topic, especially when they go out because you're getting a citation, right? So sometimes the residents are very resistant to even open the door for code enforcement officers. So sometimes they do have to call Santa Ana PD for assistance. Yeah, either to issue the code or to enforce it as well. Yeah, it's not something pleasant, but it's, once again, the underlying goal of it is to preserve our housing stock and to ensure that people have healthy and safe homes to live in. That's the ultimate goal. All right, so let's move on here. So for 2023, the HOME program, provides funds for a wide range of housing related activity, including building. We can purchase property with these funds, and we can rehabilitate affordable housing for rent or home ownership and provide direct tenant based rental assistance to low income residents. So the way that we're going to utilize the fund is in 3 different activities. We're going to provide administrative funds. We're going to provide home funds to the community housing development organizations because it's a mandatory from HUD to set aside certain amount of money for this type of service, and affordable housing development and rehabilitation programs. That's the large amount there. So that's how we're going to do that. So we're going to give you some examples, couple examples. So back in May of 2022, City Council approved $3.9 million in funding for the development of Westview House. That's located on Westminster Avenue, right across the street, I believe is the North Gate. They just opened up. It's beautiful, and the facility is going to be beautiful. So you see the conceptual drawings there. So we're hoping that they're actually going to look like that when they're done. So there was 3 different there's multiple funding streams, but the 3 that we want to mention are the home funds, $2 million. 1.5 million in inclusionary housing fund and 386,000 in rental rehabilitation program funds. So the project includes 84 new housing units and 1 management or manager's unit with 58 3 to 4 bedroom units for large families and 26 permanent supportive housing units for person experiencing homelessness. Once these units are built, every year we take a tour of facilities. We get the commissioners and we take them to facilities so that they know what they were funding and what they were recommending for funding. So once these facilities are done, we hope that we can take a tour to maybe 1 or 2 of these facilities so that you become familiar with them. The second one is Crossroads at Washington. So back in June of 2022, City Council approved $4.6 million for this project. And that's right on Washington Boulevard. It's right off the 5 freeway. And you can see the conceptual drawings on the right and the left, and you can see the freeway off the slide there, or the picture on the left hand or on the right hand side. So with home funds, we invested $3 million, and we utilized $1.6 million in neighborhood stabilization program. And that was important because if we didn't use those funds, we were going to lose them. We were going to have to transfer them over to CDBG, and we couldn't use them for anything other than capital improvement projects. So we were glad we were able to allocate those funds for those projects. So the project includes 85 new affordable housing units with one manager unit, 42 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units for large families, and 43 permanent supporting housing units for persons experiencing homelessness. So those are the 2 examples that home program funds. All right, any questions on home? All right, ESG program. So the Emergency Solutions program provides funds to assist shelter and unsheltered homeless individuals, as well as those risked at being homeless. So the different activities that we're going to fund with ESG is administration. Once again, always administration for all the programs. We're going to fund the homeless street outreach activity, homeless emergency shelter activities, homeless prevention programs, rapid rehousing, and ESG data collection management that's done by 211. So all the services, whenever they have any contact with any homeless individual, they have to report that to 211. And then in turn, we report that to HUD. Okay, so we have to fund those programs. We can't do it alone. We don't have the staffing to run these programs. So we rely on our community partners to do that. So I think last year we went to Weiss Place. I don't know if you recall that tour that we took. So that was a beautiful facility. So we rely on their services to assist us. We also rely on Mercy House, and we provide funding to our Santa Ana Police Department, the HEART program, to do community outreach. So they do outreach to the homeless individuals. They do an assessment. And at that point, they provide services if they choose to accept them, whether it could be social services, housing services, mental health services, or any other services that are needed for our homeless population. So that's what's funded through ESG program. So the next step for submission of the annual action plan is to go to council. The plan needs to be submitted to HUD no later than May 15. And we're going to have the second public hearing at the city council meeting on May 2nd, like I stated before. So if you look at the staff report, there are 5 recommended actions that we're requesting today. And I can take some questions if you have them.
Chair, I have some questions, but you can.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you for the report. I love all the programs that you have in place with the housing, with everything that you're doing with the children, the PAL, all that. My question is more in regards with the economic development part and small businesses. You still have that program in place for the $5,000 for a small business incentive?
Yes, we do.
Okay, and how, what outreach have you done to provide to the community and to make them know that it's available?
Sure. So we provide our funds to our economic development staff within Community Development Agency, and they partner with the Small Business Association, and they, in combination, they do the outreach efforts. I don't know specifically like the amount of outreach efforts that they've taken or exactly what they did, but I know they do it in partnership with the Small Business Association. Santa Ana.
Do you mind? It doesn't have to be right now because I know you don't have it on the top of your head, but I would like to have the information of what association are you partnering to share this information with the businesses?
Sure, I can get that for you by tomorrow.
Thank you. And then another question in there. How is the process to get those $5,000? The reason why I'm asking is because I helped someone to apply for the program because I was aware of it, but it was a lot of time to process, and this individual never received the funds. He got tired to keep on going back and forward with the email addresses and calling the city and not getting an answer. So I want to know if you have a designated staff for this type of program, or if you don't, who is in charge of this program, who's really implementing it and making sure that the people that it's applying that need the funds are getting the response and they're following up with it.
Definitely. We do have a specific staff that takes care of this program. Her name is Sylvia Vasquez.
Mhm.
And she's the one that administers the funds. So she's the one that has the final approval of who gets approved for the grant, and who doesn't, right? So
Mhm.
there could be a variety of reasons why businesses don't get approved. One of them, maybe if they don't have a business license, right? They
Mhm.
won't get approved. They don't move forward with the process, or maybe they don't have a DUNS number. So
Mhm.
they can't move forward with the process.
Mhm.
Now, when those items come up in the application process, we just don't tell businesses, well, sorry, you don't have this. We're going to wash our hands and we're going to forget about you. There's staff that can assist the businesses with obtaining a DUNS number, that can help them with the licensing process, obtaining the business license, all of that stuff. So we don't ignore our businesses because we know that they're so important to our community. So we have staff available there to assist them.
And I love what you're saying, because that's exactly what I want to see. Because unfortunately, I myself, I help a lot of people to go through the process, and I'm the one that is finding myself applying for their business license, guiding them to the process. And I do not work for the city. I don't mind doing it. It's my job, but it's my client, so I like to help them. But I would like to request a little bit more support on that. And for that, just like what you said, I love, like, we cannot do it alone. We have to partner. And I love that. So with that, I want to ask, how are we doing with the SBA? What type of help are we getting from the SBA? Are we have any type of partnership with the different chambers that are established in Santa Ana to help provide not only resources, but also education to our business owners and resources for them to be able to have a successful business in the city, because we need businesses. So I want to know, how are we working directly with SBA? Do we implement any of their programs that they have in place? Or if we don't implement any, are we at least helping them reach out to our community so they know that that it's an entity that can help with loans, funding, and a lot of education workshops, et cetera?
Yeah, thank you for your question. That's very important. So with the applications that come in, it's not just a matter of looking at their application and awarding them the $5,000 grant. We want to make sure that we provide the education necessary so that can be successful long-term, right? So we do partner with SBA, and one of our requirements for the small business to receive the grant is for the businesses to take a course with the SBA before they can receive the grant. That's mandatory. So once they show us that they completed the course, which I think it's like maybe 4 or 5 hour course that they provide, and I don't have the details with me, so I can't really give you a lot of detail, but I can include that in my email to you tomorrow. But they're connected.
But just make sure that it's for those $5,000, because you do work with the SBDC on a $1,000 grant that requires to get into a course, like, for example, for social media or for marketing your business. I helped a lot of people to get into that program, and it was amazing. But the grants were just $1,000, and they were coming from the SBA. But for the $5,000 one, then if you are requiring a course, then that's another feedback that I have for you. Because for this client specifically, first of all, he never really get the requirements to see if he qualifies or not. We just got an application. It was never mentioned he needed to complete a class. So if it's necessary, I love that. I think education is what's going to take us to another level. So I love that you're putting systems in place for business owners to have education firsthand and then reward them with the grant. I think that's very important. But I feel like the department is lacking of information to the public, and more with new business owners are very new into how to do anything in here. So I would like for you guys to take a look of how you're implementing those grants, if you're giving enough resources for the new business owners, and if you're providing with the right information, and also to follow up with business licenses. I don't know if you're aware, but right now it's taking 60 to 78 days to get an occupational permit. So that means 2 months of paying rent for a new business owner in the city of Santa Ana to be able to open doors. That's a lot of money. It has been taking one of my friends 8 months to get the planning department to do an inspection in her new building to open a coffee shop. That's 8 months of rent that she has to be paying until she has to open doors. So when I got in this commission, I was very excited because the economic development, I've been dealing with that department a lot. And I want to do whatever it's in my position and whatever I can do to give you guys the feedback so we can have a stronger economic development department. Because I think every time I come to my commission meetings, every time I read reports, we're doing great with housing. I have no complaints. All the programs I have in place, how your partnership with several different persons to deliver what our community needs in regards of housing, no complaints at all. I love it. I think we're doing a great job. I'm very, very proud of the staff every time I see a presentation, but I feel we're lacking that support for business owners. And on top of that, it hasn't been really easy to be a business owner in the city of Santa Ana, not only in downtown, because I know everybody's very familiar with my face that I keep complaining, but Main Street, it's suffering from that too. And we have many, many businesses around Santa Ana that they decide to just move to another city because they get more support because the city gives them a platform for success. And I feel we're lacking a lot of that in here. And me as a business owner, I know it's been really hard for me to conduct a business without the help of my city. And we have great people around there that we can partner with. Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce, it's a great partner. And I know we partner with them. We're going to have the Growth Conference pretty soon. But it's again to give like updates on developments again, on housing, on all this that's going on. And the businesses are always on the very last of the list. And I think I just wanted to give feedback on that. It's very important for me that we start working with more entities, working a little bit more with the SBA. I find out that back in the day, when you wanted to get a business license and you come to the counter, they used to give you a little packet. And in that little packet, it had the information of SBA. And SBA had in place different workshops to help you fill out your business license, to help you go through the process of occupational license, to help you through all of. We don't have that anymore. I have come to get a business license and they just pretty much give you the application. We have to understand that there's a very big need in our community to more information and to more support. And like, again, if we're not counting with the staff, if we don't have the resources here, I think it's time for us to start looking them outside to provide the needs that our small business community has. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So first, I just want to thank you for helping other businesses, move forward and stay in our city. That's very important. So thank you for doing that. And second, I would just maybe coordinate with Mike tomorrow to see if maybe we can get Sylvia Vasquez or even the manager to come out here and do a small presentation about all the services that they provide so that you're fully aware, that the whole commission is fully aware of what we do in Economic Development Commission. So I'll coordinate with Mike on
I
that
would
next
love
week.
that. Yes.
Perfect. And
Thank
maybe
you.
we'll have that next meeting.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and questions there, Commissioner. I enjoyed those. Anybody else?
I have-
Commissioner, comments, questions?
I have a question, actually. So I have a question on the city capital improvement, specifically the PAL restroom improvement. Can you explain a little bit about like the cost? That's $500,000. And I wonder how many restrooms, what exactly is that entail?
Sure. So at this specific PAL Center, there are 3 restrooms. The building was built back in 1962, I believe. So the restrooms are pretty old. They're original to the building. So they're not ADA compliant. They look like little closets, right? So when that facility brings in all the kids for the activities, there's about maybe 30 to 45 kids every single night that go there. So for 3 restrooms, a little closet is just not very efficient. So what we're trying to do is to expand the restrooms so that they look like a public restroom for the kids and they have multiple uses there in the restroom. So we're going to rehab 3 and we're going to make them ADA compliant.
And that cost $500,000.
Yes, for construction costs, yes. for the three, especially if it involves anything with ADA, the price goes up. Because
Okay.
we have to comply for that.
I just think it's insane. You have 21 organizations that are getting about $700,000, right? That actually help kids without law enforcement figures. So I'm just saying.
Any other questions for staff? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve item number 9 to approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 annual action plan and budgets for the Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnerships Grant, Emergency Solutions Grant, and authorized submission to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development? Do we have a motion to move forward?
Let's move it with the promise that we're gonna get that presentation. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
We have the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, very good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, at this time, we'd like to hear from the public. Do we have anybody here registered, Bianca, that wants to speak? No. Okay, then I'll move on. Is there any written communication? No. All righty. We already did that. The public hearing is now closed. Okay, staff, do you have any comments for us this evening?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to the commission for approving the annual plan for our housing authority and our annual action plan for our CDBG home and ESG grants. Welcome to our new commissioner. We look forward to conducting your orientation and having you meet all of our staff who are here with us today.
Thank you.
And three other announcements today during the meeting. Actually, we authorized the closing of our loan for the development of Wise Place. This is the 47 new units of permanent supportive housing to convert Wise Place into permanent supportive housing, and that loan closing now allows them to pull their building permit this Friday and start construction on that project. So they'll be reaching out to us to schedule a groundbreaking celebration in the next couple weeks, and we'll make sure that the commission is invited to that. And then the other project that is nearing completion is our Legacy Square project. This is the 93-unit new construction project that converted the church there on Santa Ana Boulevard into affordable housing. And they have scheduled their grand opening for June 21st at 2 p.m. And the invitations will be forthcoming to the commission. So please keep a lookout in your inboxes for that invitation coming out. Lastly, last night, City Council approved the annual progress report for our housing element, which shows that we are making more than adequate progress to meet our regional housing needs assessment requirements for this planning period. And we continue to make progress to provide affordable housing for our residents. With that, we have no further comments unless Mike, do you have any comments?
No, I'm glad you brought that up. We are also going to be focusing on doing an RFP soon. I've been working closely with Judson and some housing staff to figure out how we can accomplish possibly some home ownership programs that the city council would like us to direct some of our attention to, even some scattered lot development. So we're looking the new fiscal year to release that and not only focus on large affordable housing developments, but also some smaller, lower density developments with some first-time home buyer program funds, as well as some looking at how we can use some of our vacant lots that maybe are not for sale right now, but they've been sitting vacant. We have about 302 vacant lots throughout the city. I don't know how many of those are residential, but we're going to be working closely with the planning and building agency to figure out how we can put some of them back to use. There's quite a few in the Santiago Neighborhood Association area that we've been trying to contact property owners. And so we may have to use the housing authority's power of eminent domain upon direction of council, of course, to move forward on some properties that have been sitting vacant for a while. And so we're gonna try to get a little creative with how we utilize our funds to still accomplish some home ownership opportunities per council direction.
I have a question real quick. You talk about small lots, like 2,000 or smaller, or, you know?
Oh, no. We would still stay within probably a 5,000 square foot lot development envelope, so. But we may achieve some more smaller homes on those. In fact, Berla from our office is working on acquiring some properties on Garnsey for the expansion of what had been planned for 10th and Flower, 841 and 843. If we decide to move those homes because they're older than 100 years and they have some historic architectural features, we may have to relocate those homes. So that would be an example where we would actually, they're on raised foundations, we would lift them, move them possibly to a few different sites nearby that the Public Works Agency owns. So that may be where we're working 2 homes on a 5,000 square foot lot, but nothing too densely dense in a small single family neighborhood. So
Good choice. Yeah,
thank you.
Commissioners, any other comments or questions? Commissioner Cornelius?
Congratulations to the new chair and vice chair. And to our new commissioner member, Mejia. Nice working with you before.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Lee?
Well, congratulations, guys, and glad to be here and learn a few things more things today. So appreciate all this. Thank you.
Thank you. Our newest commissioner.
I just want to say thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. I've learned a lot and I really appreciate the details and clear presentation, and congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Padilla.
No, I just want to say thank you for the staff for the presentation. Congratulations, Mr. Chair. I'm really looking forward to share your expertise as a commissioner. That's it. Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you. Our youth commissioner. I'm going to work with the last name and make sure I see this properly. Commissioner Martinez Balbuena.
That is correct. Yes, Balbuena. So I wanted to congratulate Mr. Covington for a position as chair and Ms. Padilla for vice chair, and welcome new commissioner. And I also wanted to thank staff for the very thorough reports. They're very clear and very easy to understand, and just thank the hard work you guys are putting into the reports. And just wanted to comment on how amazing it is to see the improvements being made and how these funds are getting distributed for community. So growing up in Santa Ana, it's great to see how all these funds are getting used and how they're improving the community. So thank you all very much, and to the commissioners for the attention you guys put into improving the city. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bear with me, guys. Give it a microphone. I usually have a lot to say, but I'll try and make this brief here tonight. Okay, it's been a long meeting, but it's been a productive one. Thank you for your support in this position. I was actually chair over 20 years ago, so it's good to be back. Again, I am rusty, so I am going to appreciate your help and the coaching here from staff. But I want to thank Commissioner Padilla. I actually congratulate Commissioner Padilla here for her position now as vice chair. I want to welcome our newest commissioner here. Staff, you guys put a lot of work into what you do, and I want you to know that it does not go unrecognized. We are grateful for the time and the effort and the long hours and the time you guys invest. You're on overtime right now, away from your families. We appreciate you very much. Question for Mike and Judson, though. I notice we don't always have legal counsel. Our last attorney left for a new position. Shouldn't we have counsel here during our meetings?
That is something that we will have counsel as required, as necessary. Due to staffing changes, we are going away from that policy to having legal counsel here at every meeting. So
Okay, now I understand that better. And there is someone here that's earned a very special award from the Santa Ana Chamber of Commerce. She is going to be recognized very soon as a difference maker in the city of Santa Ana. And that's Commissioner Padilla, who earned the award for the small business person. I'll pull it this way, the small business hero for the city of Santa Ana. So congratulations for that award. But Mike, I have a favor, a request for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 20 years ago, the commissioners were given cards, business cards. We are all ambassadors of the city. We all interact with the business community, with the residents of the community. Okay, I would like to have business cards for this group again, so we can pass them out when we have questions. Let the people we bump into in our hometown neighborhoods, in our business community, if they need a favor, please contact us. We want to be of service to our community. So I would love it if you can find it in the budget to get us some business cards.
We will check into that.
Very good, sir. Very, very good. Field trips were mentioned as well. In the old days, we used to do that. I want to do that again. That was brought up today, but I would love it if we could have a few more field trips. We could see what it is we're voting for. We can see how our city's funds are being invested. So when we have questions about this out in the community, we have we have hands-on experience to know what it is we're doing. So want to do more of that. Because I have 4 kids, they're all grown now, but spring break I know is either now or the near future. If you're driving through the neighborhoods, please be careful. The kids are going to be out and about. And I have one more thing I want to talk about. And we have a very, very special little lady to my far left. And Commissioner Martinez Balbuena is a senior graduating from Santa Ana High School very soon. If you see her resume, it impressed the heck out of me. Okay, I'm going to be writing a letter of recommendation for her so she can have a scholarship because she mentors the youth in her school. She does a lot of neat things. I know she wants to be an attorney, but why don't you take a minute and just kind of tell us a little bit more about you? And then we're going to ask you guys to help out. She needs a couple more letters of recommendation for her scholarship. So not only am I asking my fellow commissioners, I'm asking staff to help as well. Not pointing any fingers, but I want you guys just to know. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Covington. So just a little more about me. Growing up in Santa Ana, it was my family. I often noticed that they had limited education and working here. And so I noticed that that sort of developed on into their kids, the youth, and the youth didn't sort of in high school, not many of students were Santa Ana High School being the biggest high school in Orange County. Not many apply to college. And so I really wanted to, when I entered high school, sort of help youth and in that pursue a career where I could help and give back to my community. And so from when I entered high school as a freshman, I tried to involve myself in programs that would educate me and help me provide opportunity from in high school to students. So I do mentor students and provide them tutoring services. So usually the freshmen who are failing grades, I help them. And I'm also part of the Elizabeth G. Macias Legal Studies Academy and at our high school. And so I mentor the incoming students for mock trial since I am team co-captain. I do mentor the students coming in who are also interested in pursuing a career as an attorney or just the legal field and help them prepare for the competition and also just learn more about the academy and network. And so very thankful for having the opportunity to be on this commission and help and just to grow up and see the differences that are being made has really impacted me. And so I do hope to continue this in college and then one day do become an attorney and give back to my community. So thank you.
Very good. If you are so inclined, what is the deadline for the letter? Because I know it's coming up.
So the deadline is March 30th, but I do have more scholarships coming up. So, yes.
If you can help, please see Darlene here after the meeting. With that, this meeting is officially adjourned. The next regular meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, April 26th at 4:30 in the council chambers. Thank you all for being here this evening.